Mazal Talk podcast with Yoel.
Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see you all here tonight for this program, hosted together with the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington. Earlier this evening, we had the opportunity to experience Survive to Tell, a powerful and deeply personal VR journey into the events of October 7. And now we have the privilege of hearing directly from Zohar Livne Mizrahi, the General Secretary of Kibbutz Re'im, Federation's new partner community in Israel. As part of the Shlichim delegation here in the DMV area, the second largest in the United States, supported jointly by local host institution and federation. I have the privilege of working every day to build those personal and genuine connections that bring Israel closer to people's hearts. We hope that tonight will be just at the beginning of a growing two-way relationship between our community and the people of Kibbutz Re'im, one built on the same personal connections we have shared this evening. And now it's my honor to invite Daniel Raskes, Vice President for Strategy, Planning, and Allocations, Israel and Overseas, to share a few words. Hi, Zohar. How are you?
Okay. I think, a lot of ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster these past 2 years. I don't know if you heard the news that 2 hostages who were murdered in captivity were returned today, both of them from Eshkol. One from Nir Oz, which finalizes the issue of hostages from Kibbutz Nir Oz, which was, I think, the community that was hit the most, and also a young guy from Kibbutz Be'eri, who we personally know his family. So it's not something that you rejoice about, but it eases the pain just a bit to know the families have closure. I'm on the roller coaster.
I get it. Yeah, it's not easy. Okay, so let's dive into Kibbutz Re'im. I want to talk a little bit about the life in the kibbutz. So I'd like to start by going back a bit, more than 2 years ago, before October 7, 2023. If someone were thinking about joining to Kibbutz Re'im back then, how would you have described life there, and what made it special?
There's a saying in our region that our area is 95% heaven, 5% hell. Kibbutz Re'im is heaven. It's a great, beautiful place, strong, resilient community, wonderful facilities, for systems, the education system, the welfare system, the health system, everything. We worked pretty well together, and we were actually on our way to very significant demographic growth. We were really building the path there because we are small kibbutz. We are 430 people of all ages. Our main source of income is agriculture. One of the farmers is my husband, Einav, who's joining me here. We also have 2 factories that, like everything, they're good years and bad years. We have a cow shed, we have chicken coops, we have a citrus orchard, avocado grove. So we have a lot of agricultural types of facilities. And we have been privatized. Do you know kibbutz? What a kibbutz is? The original kibbutzim were like the kolkhoz in Russia so many years ago, and they were completely cooperative. Everything was joint. People were living together. The children were living together. No one had private possessions. No one had private money. If you got an inheritance, it had to go to the kibbutz. If you got a gift, it had to go to the kibbutz. It was very extreme. I think Re'im pretty early on made it a little less extreme. Our kibbutz was established in 1949, and we have been privatized since 2018, which means we are co-owners of this co-op, okay? We have equal shares of the businesses and the land and all the facilities. We build our own homes, we finance our own homes, but still we kept a lot of the essence of the mutual assistance. We take care of each other. We make sure no one is left behind during COVID, during security escalations. Everyone was taken care of. And I think that also helped us a lot on October 7th and on from there.
So now I want to ask you something about living near Gaza. It sounds idyllic in many ways, but Gaza is just a few kilometers away. How did that reality shape daily life in the kibbutz? Fears or precautions you always live with?
Does anyone know a place in Israel where it's boring and there's no security issue? Tell me, I don't know. I think I'm an army brat and we moved around a lot. So I lived like all over. I think the most boring place I lived in was Leavenworth, Kansas. Okay? None of the places I lived in Israel were boring. I lived in Metula. I lived in Manara. My grandparents established Kibbutz Manara. We lived in Tel Aviv. We lived in Hedera in the first years of our marriage. All these places suffered terror attacks or some sort of threat from across the border. So I really, when we moved to Re'im, Einav is actually a native of Re'im. He was born in Re'im. It was just coming home. It wasn't an issue that we're moving next to the Gaza Strip, because everywhere you live in Israel, you're near something. And we love the place, and his family is there, and it was no-brainer. It was so natural to just take this step, and I still believe it was the right thing to do and still is the right thing to do. So Israel is...
I mean, I understand you as an Israeli, but it's good to give this perspective. So the personal lens. Then came October 7. Can you take us back to that horrific day and walk us through it in your own shoes?
Yes, every time it bubbles up other feelings. I need to get used to it. In our house, I say that as a joke, but it's not a joke. Einav woke me up at 6:15. You know, everyone knows 6:29, but he woke me up at 6:15, telling me, I hear gunshots outside. It's an AK-47. It's not ours. Saturday morning, 6:15. Usually doesn't hear very well, especially when I talk. So come on, go back to sleep and leave me alone. 10 minutes after that, the sirens started to sound off, and we all went into the safe room. Every house in Re'im has a safe room, a mamad. I'm actually very proud because my father, who was a major general, he was the first home front commander in Israel. He established the home front command. He was actually here in DC for 4 years as the military attaché to North America. And he was one of the founding fathers of the mamad. And it really drove him nuts that the first years in Re'im we didn't have a mamad. He was crazy about it. Unfortunately, he didn't make it to see us with a house with a mamad. The mamad in our house, the security room in our house, is my son's bedroom. We have 3 children. The biggest miracle is that they were all at home with us and not in their rooms in the young adults neighborhood, which suffered the worst hit. We have Shachar, she's 25. She's studying special education in Tel Aviv, in Seminar Kibbutzim. We have Tzuf, who we all went into his room. He's 21. He has high-functioning autism. So he was in the midst of a special program he was doing. And our youngest, Adi, she's now 17, just started 12th grade. So we went into the safe room, very quickly understood that this was nothing like we've ever experienced. The sounds, the intensity, the shouting in Arabic, things that we've never heard. And there was one thing that was missing. It was the Air Force. We are used to, once the sirens start to shout out, we hear the choppers and the planes, the fighter jets. There was nothing. And the messages on the WhatsApp group were horrific and inconceivable. And then we were told to lock the secured room's door, and it's not supposed to be locked. It's made for rockets. It's not made for invasion. So Einav took his pistol, put a bullet in the chamber, and stood guard in the hallway for 30 hours while we were inside. We somehow managed to stay in this bubble of suppression. We didn't realize what was going on. It's like we didn't understand. Even though we were in front of the TV and in front of Facebook and the WhatsApp group, it didn't register. The only one who understood what's going on was Einav, but he allowed us to stay in our bubble. Only the next morning, we were finally told that the kibbutz is clear. It doesn't have any more terrorists inside. Around 100 terrorists entered the kibbutz. At that morning, our small first respond group was even smaller. There were only 6 of them at the beginning, but the genius chief of security of our kibbutz didn't do what the army told him to do and didn't put the rifles in the armory. So they had their weapons in the houses with them. He put a safe in every house, so they had their weapons with them so they could come out and fight. And what they did is they tried to push them back. You will see a short clip about it. They didn't try to head them on. Everywhere else where the first respond group tried to head them on, and definitely where they didn't have their rifles with them, many lost their lives. In our kibbutz, none of the first responders lost their life, which is like crazy miracle. And also something about our location allowed reinforcements from the army and the police to arrive quite early, not that late like in other locations. And 12 of them lost their lives while fighting and protecting us. They literally gave their lives for us. It's something we need to carry all our lives. And in addition, 7 members of the community were murdered. 2 of our Thai workers, our foreign workers, 1 elderly lady, Varda, father and his girlfriend, Dvir and Stav, who came out to protect his children, and 2 young adults, Asaf, who was 23, and Amit, who was just shy of 18. Yesterday was his birthday, supposed to be his birthday. So that was what we woke up to. We didn't go to sleep, but this is what the morning of the 8th of October presented. And also 4 of the community were kidnapped. 3 of the Thai workers, I don't know what they wanted with all the foreign workers all over the area. It's completely nuts. And they also took 1 of our young adults, Liam Or, but they were, luckily for us, all returned in the first deal in November 23. So it was quite quickly, but still.
Thank you. I want to talk a little bit about the border perspective. And from a border perspective, can you tell us a bit about what happening across the kibbutz that day? Or like, we know that the local security team fought heroically and that the Nova Music Festival took place just outside the kibbutz. Help us understand what was unfolding in Re'im as a whole.
That party was very annoying the first 2 nights. The kibbutz was moving through with the bass. It was really, people were, were they allowed? And Einav always sees the glass half empty. Drove our daughter to the train station and stopped on the way back. They were very organized. They had police and first aid and everything, very, very organized. So he was stopped at a roadblock, and he told the officer, the police officer, "What are you doing? 1 rocket and you'll have a tragedy here. Send everyone home." But they didn't. And while we were in the safe rooms, we started getting phone calls from people. Everyone who knew anyone in Re'im gave their phone number to someone who was looking for their child. Okay? And we were getting calls and messages, and we really couldn't do anything. But I can say very proudly that 40 young people from the party were saved inside Re'im. They were brought in by our first response group, or they came in with a guy who was later killed. He was one of the armed forces who was born in Re'im, and he was at the party, and he said, I know where to go, come with me. So he brought, by himself, I think, 20 people in and saved their lives. What happened in the party is, again, another very, very heavy burden on us, because in many aspects, it saved us. Because you see the footage from the front gate, and we see terrorists coming in and being called away, because they were called away to the festival, because it was easy bait. So yeah, that's a big, and now the road to our kibbutz is the road of death. And the two mobile shelters in the entrance of the kibbutz are the shelters of death, where Anir Shapira and Hirsch Goldberg-Polin and others were kidnapped from. That's right outside our kibbutz. That's where we wait for the bus. So it's everything together. We live now in everything is like monuments. Need to learn to live next to it.
So after that day ended, when you finally had a moment to stop and think everything in, what was going through your mind?
Well, actually, things started to register with me once we were starting to drive out of the kibbutz. We were told we're being evacuated and we're heading towards Eilat. So we started driving, and hundreds of soldiers inside the kibbutz, like standing ready to fire, not just walking around. And then driving out and onto the main road, the scene was unbelievable. It was like from the worst war movie you can imagine. Burnt cars, overturned with bullet holes and with RPG holes, bodies which we hoped were bodies of terrorists and not others, but we do know they were also our people, because many of the bodies they put grenades under the bodies, so when they pick up the bodies, the first responders will be hurt. So yes, so that was the view, and we were like crying in the car. We told the kids to put their heads down and not look and not see the horrors, because it took our breath away. It was impossible. And on the way, my brother called me, and he asked, will you go back? And they've always asked me that after every escalation. And this was the first time I hesitated. I said, I don't know. Now I know. I'm back. But it was the first time where I wasn't sure. And that in itself is like a rude awakening.
You want to watch the video now?
Footage inside the kibbutz.
מחבלים מסתובבים חופשי בקיבוץ, יורים לכל עבר, מנסים להיכנס לבתים. ני ואיברי רצים לכיוון בתי הילדים.
אני מציץ פה מעבר לפינה, ואני בעצם רואה בחורשה פה על כל עץ מחבל. מתחילים לנהל איתם אש, ואני מסתכל על הכמות של המחבלים שיש שם.
Just to frame, these men literally saved our kibbutz, and some of them were victims themselves. Noam, he didn't talk this time, lost his son Amit, the young boy. Avi, which you saw, he was alone with his 3 children, and he's part of the first response group. His brother, his twin brother, was in Nir Oz, lives in Nir Oz, again alone with the 3 children, because both wives were away for a weekend. Both of them in the first response group, both of them going in and out. And their oldest brother, who was a member of the first response group in Moshav Yesha, went out to fight and was killed. So the story of this particular family could have been even more tragic. But all of them, I think, you saw Imri, the funny guy, that's trauma. That's how trauma starts, when you can taste death, and when you know these are your final moments. And I can tell you all of these guys, they're in trauma. It's not post-trauma because we're still in it. But all of them are in therapy. Thank God they agreed, men, Israeli men, kibbutznikim. But yes, they are all in therapy, but this is the group that we worry about the most.
So let's talk a little bit about the first steps of rebuilding. After such a devastating, where do you even begin? What did your first stage of recovery look like for you and for the kibbutz?
Well, we headed to Eilat, and we were all headed to one hotel, Sport Hotel in Eilat. They were amazing, amazing, amazing. And very, very quickly, we started to organize ourselves. Now, the first few days were a complete haze. We didn't know who's alive, who's not. Kibbutz is like a big family, like an extended family. Eshkol Regional Council is like a bigger extended family, okay? Our school system is joined, our welfare, our health, our senior citizens, our young adults, everything is together. So we know everyone. We raise our children together. We work side by side. We grew up together. Literally know everyone. And we didn't know. We really didn't know who survived. We were following Facebook to see who's posting to know that they're alive. We were watching clips that people took to see who is where. I'm a social worker by profession. I forgot to say that. And we are a group of therapists in our kibbutz. And therapists know very well that when you're in duty, when you have a post, it's like you're a little protected, okay? When you have a job. So we got together and we started to arrange the mental health assistance that therapists from all over Israel on October 8th just rode down to the Dead Sea and to Eilat and just offered help. Now, it's very problematic because if you come to a place when there's no one arranging it, you don't go up to people and say, do you want therapy? Do you want therapy? It doesn't work. But we could. We were sitting in the lobby like hunters. You don't look so good today. Go by the pool. There's a therapist. Sit with her. I'm worried about you. Go by the lobby. There are 2 chairs there. Go. The therapist will come. That's how we did it, like a field hospital for mental health. Slowly, we made it more and more organized, and we finally decided to approach 5 of these therapists and said, thank you very much for volunteering and for helping. But we ask that we want to pay you, but we ask that you commit to come down to Eilat for a day a week. So if I don't feel well, I know that on Wednesday, I'm meeting Osnat, my therapist, at 2:00. So I have something to look forward to and something as a routine. And we've established it more and more, and we have been running for the past 2 years our private therapy center. It's managed and the professional aspect by an NGO in Israel called Summit. They deal with foster children and people with mental disability. And they allocated 6 therapists that came down to Eilat for a day a week, then came to Tel Aviv when we moved to Tel Aviv, and now seeing us in Re'im, because we're back in Re'im. Side by side, there was another group of mostly men. Men do. They don't be, they do. And they were like starting to figure out what's next, okay? So there was no country at that point, no state. No one was really reaching out to see what we need. So they started a fundraiser, and also they started to search for a temporary living solution for the community, because we very quickly realized that as fun as a all-included hotel is, the first days you don't cook, you don't clean, you don't. It's not good. It's very bad, especially for young children. They need the structure of the family. They need to know when they're going to sleep. Their parents need to know what they're eating, what they're drinking. The Coke machine was like on 24/7. not good. 9 p.m., the clown is coming. Okay, 9 p.m., my kids are supposed to be asleep, but they won't. So when we sent out these requests, a group of businessmen, companies, NGOs, federations just came together and said, okay, what do you need? They later became the business forum for the Tkuma region. Now every community that was hurt now has a group of these companies and these people that help them. Every kibbutz or moshav according to what they need. So we told them we need money and we need to find a place. Now we had a list of demands. We wanted somewhere that will fit the entire community. It had to have safe rooms. We cannot go anywhere without safe rooms in the reality that was and still is in Israel. It has to be within commute to Re'im, because our farmers were already back at work a week after, our factories a month after, but they had to go back and forth, only on the weekends, because you can't go back and forth to Eilat 3.5 hours every day. And we really wanted a rural environment somewhat similar to our kibbutz, our beautiful kibbutz. 3 out of 4 is not bad, because what they came up with was a 2 high-rise building complex in South Tel Aviv, on the border with Jaffa, like hardcore Tel Aviv, with the noise and the pollution and the homeless and the drugs. But it was vacant. It was big enough. It had a central building, a preservation building, which was an old well. So it was our JCC. Our kindergartens were there, our senior citizens club, our dining room. You can't have a kibbutz without a dining room. Our office, our meeting room, everything was there. So we didn't just live side by side. We actually run a community, the first vertical kibbutz. And the municipality of Tel Aviv just allowed everything that we needed, opened every door for us. It was amazing. The permits, these buildings were just finished being built. So they were starting to work on the permits. You know how long permits take? It took a month. That's like a world record. Okay, the contractor was in shock. So right after Hanukkah, in the middle of December, we moved to Tel Aviv. It was a big operation. A family was allocated a certain date, and that's when they moved. And the kibbutz organized the apartments, so we didn't decide where we're going to live and next to who and what our furniture will be. Everything was like the old kibbutz in the past. But these were small apartments, a bedroom and a one-bedroom apartment. So a big family, 5 people like ours, we had 2 apartments. Luckily for us, our kids are grown up. But people with small kids, they had an apartment for living and an apartment for sleeping. So when you want to put your kids to bed at 8 o'clock, you go to bed, which is not so bad, but it changes the routine because you will not leave them in one apartment and be in the other after what we went through. So we became townies in the big town, in a big city. It was crazy, very crazy. I think some of the people, mainly our senior citizens, really enjoyed the culture, the museums, the shows, the opera. But a lot of us just wanted to go home. And I think the most moving movement was our teenagers. They just wanted to go home. They didn't want to go to school in Tel Aviv. One of them is our daughter. She said, I'm not going on to the next year in Tel Aviv. I either go back home or I stop school. And 30 families returned summer of 24 because of our young adults. They wanted to be together. They wanted to cry together. They wanted to mourn. They lost friends and teachers and parents. And everywhere else, people felt sorry for them. People, looked at them like, oh. Once you said Re'im, Re'im was a synonym to ground zero. So when you say, I'm from Re'im, oh, are you okay? And teenagers cannot handle that. So a group of us came back in the summer of 24. Also a small group of young families with younger children. So we opened the kindergarten. In January, another group moved back to the kibbutz. So we opened our after-school program. And then we were getting close to Pesach. Now, in May 24, I was chosen as the head of the community. Don't know why I did that. Not the best decision I've ever made, but it felt right. I think being a social worker, that's the main skill I need right now. Before Pesach, we were supposed to be back, the entire community, by the end of June, but the end of the school year, 25. And just before Pesach, there were about 5 families that said, well, maybe we'll take another year. We have some medical issues. We have some work issues. We have some trauma issues. But 5, 7 families, not more than that. And during Pesach, many of the young families with the children came to stay at the kibbutz for the holiday, to clean the house, to get the kids used back to the kibbutz. And during Pesach, it was the end of the second ceasefire. And the noises in the region, the fighting noises, were crazy. So by the end of Pesach, 30 families asked to stay another year. Now, for a small community like ours, that's like a death sentence. It's the worst thing that can happen. I was going nuts. I was calling everyone to see how they can help. Really, I didn't know what to do. And then came the 12th day of the battle with Iran. And within 24 hours, everyone was back in the kibbutz, plus 100 visitors, because our area was the safest and the quietest. So it's a little funny, even though the damage from those 12 days was horrific. So many lost their lives and their homes. But for us, it was a small miracle. And now, not everyone, 90 plus, around 90% are back. The last group returned at the end of the school year. Our rehabilitation efforts are very advanced. We don't wait. That's one of the, I think, the strengths of Re'im. We don't wait for financing from the government. They say they will give it, we're going to do, and then we'll make sure they give it. So we don't wait. And actually, we have been, in a way, the first ones that after that the government had to set the plans according to what we did. So I think it's a blessing. Most of all the wreckage, 5 homes were destroyed, 10 homes in the young adults neighborhood was destroyed. Everything was cleared away very quickly compared to other communities, and some have already been rebuilt. We are now starting to build the 5 homes that were destroyed, the family homes, but everyone has a home in Re'im. Everyone now has a suitable temporary housing, so they can be part of the community, which was very important for us. And everything is operating, the education system, the welfare, health. We have a clinic, we have a dining room which works 5 days a week for lunch. All our businesses are working. It's almost like everything is normal, but nothing is normal. And days like today just throw us back. One of the hostages that his remains are still in Gaza is Dror Or, which was born in Re'im and raised his family in Be'eri. He was murdered alongside his wife, and their 2 children were kidnapped. So his body is still, the family was told that they do not know where the body is. So that's the reality. And until all of them return, we will not be able to take the next step. Okay, we're still in survival mode. We're still, going through the motions. Only when we can say this is over, the hostages, not the war, I don't presume to know when that will be over, ever. Only then I think people will start allowing themselves to hurt, allowing themselves to get out of survival mode and into reality. We already see that more and more people ask for assistance, for medical treatment, medicinal aid. Sleeping pills are handed out like candy. We don't have gummies in Israel, so we have to do with what we have. And we will forever be missing. We will never be whole again. I always like to use the equivalent to when a group of fighters return from a fight and they lost a friend. They fly in a missing formation. It's funny because misinformation is missing formation. So I feel like we will always be in a missing formation, but we will fly. And one of the reasons we will fly is you. Because you are with us. You've been there from the very first moment. The first financial aid we received was from the Federation of DC, when we didn't even know what we needed. We were so alone and so abandoned in October 7th. We felt like we lost everything. But the people of Israel and the people of the world, the Jewish world, were there within a day. And you have been there ever since. We feel it. We have visitors on visitors and visitors. We had groups from DC who came to visit us in Tel Aviv. We hope you come to see us in Re'im. And we want you to know that it's so not trivial for us, the support you give us. But we also want you to know that we have your back. And you have a home with us. And we need you as much as you need us. That's what I see. I hate it, the way it was done for years, where you send checks and I won't go there. I didn't like it anyway. I used to work with the Jewish Agency. I used to work with a partnership of Philadelphia with Netivot and Sdot Negev. So I know the connection. I know the importance of the connection. And that's what we want. We are a very strong community. We are not used to asking for help. We still, unfortunately, need to do more than the government allows us. But we don't want to be like in a dependent mode. We want to be in a cooperation mode. And that's really important for us.
So Kibbutz Re'im has become one of the Federation new partners, communities in Israel. Can you share a bit about how that connection began and tell us what this partnership between Kibbutz Re'im and the Federation actually looks like?
Well, we're still building it, but we're doing it step by step like I think is right to do. Like I said, the first financial assistance we got was from the Federation of DC. You know, in Israel we say when you have connections, you don't need special attention. Everything is based on connections. The representative of the Federation of Philadelphia in Israel is a good friend, and we were in contact throughout the day and the days after. And she said, who can I talk to in Re'im? There are various federations that want to help. And I put her in contact with the one. I wasn't in any position at that point, so I put her together with the guy who was communicating. And then she called me back and said, okay, we put you together with the Federation of DC, and they have sent you money. And that was like, but yes, we are working on a relationship that's not only based on assistance, but really is based on mutual respect and mutual affection. And we want to make the connections more two-sided. So we're working on it. We waited for the entire community to come back home so we can start hosting like we like to do.
Sounds great. So as you look toward the future, what's most important to you in this growing partnership with our community here? What would you like this connection to look like moving forward?
Like I said, two sides working together, partnership, not, one side taking care of another. Just a relationship, like family. We're all a big mishpuche. And I think we forgot that throughout the years in the past. We forgot that a little bit. And I think what happened, it's very sad that it took what happened to happen, but I think it reminded us all that we are one people. We are a strong nation we were raised on Im en ani li mili and Ve'avta l'reacha kamocha. So we don't leave people behind. We don't give up. We didn't give up after the Holocaust, and we're not going to give up now. It's very challenging because we have to rise where our blood was shed, unlike the Holocaust. Okay, after the Holocaust, the Jewish people rose in Israel, in America. We need to rise, but we will, and we want you there with us.
3 weeks ago, the world watched as the remaining hostages were finally brought home. Can you share how those moments felt in Re'im and how the community marked them? What the atmosphere was look like? To what extent was it possible to truly celebrate, giving everything you have been through and the family who lost so much?
Well, it's very individual because I couldn't rejoice. I was in tears the entire few days and seeing the videos with the families, I was like in pieces, but I couldn't be happy. I think that's one of the things that were broken in a lot of us. I'm not the only one with this situation. I couldn't be really happy because, first of all, it's not over. We still have now 13, 11. Yeah. Crazy. It's heart-wrenching. We're exhausted. People were happy. We were mainly happy for the ones who returned and for their families, but we're not done yet. And we have to make sure we finish this. So it's a roller coaster. Like everything else, you're crying, you're smiling. I think we're all missing a layer of our skin. So everything feels more strong when you're happy, when you're sad, when someone touches you, it feels more painful. And I think we're all in this situation. But, we're nuts, right? We're a little nuts, the Jewish people. We're not just resilient, and we're a little mishigane.
So we're going to watch now the last video, and then I'm going to open for questions from you guys. So feel free.
Doesn't matter how many times I see it, still my teardrops.
So now if we have some questions from the audience. Yeah, someone wants to ask something?
Toda Rabah. It was really very moving and emotional. So I guess obviously for Kibbutz Re'im, rebuilding is a huge priority. And also professionally and from your unique vantage point as a social worker, dealing with trauma is a huge priority. What's the third priority in your judgment, particularly for the American Jewish community?
Very good question. First time I've been asked that. We need to regain our faith in our country. Don't know if we can regain our faith in the government, but we definitely need to regain our faith in the army. We need to, recalibrate, our ideology. Our region was home for many, many peace-loving people who wanted coexistence, who demonstrated for the Palestinians, who drove them to the hospital, and some of them were burnt to ashes. We needed archaeologists to identify them. And that's a very big struggle. I can say personally, for me, I'm struggling with it very badly. I feel like that's my handicap now. Because in the past, I could always feel for the other side, and I could always look at their pain and hurt for them and hope for a better relationship, a better way of life. And ever since October 7th, I don't care. Literally, don't care. I'm not happy when anyone there is killed, even Sinwar and Nasrallah. Didn't care. I don't want revenge. I don't want people to die, but I don't care. And that's a very big handicap for me. Being a woman, a mother, a social worker, not feeling empathy. What does that mean? Am I broken? And it's not getting easier. What Hamas is doing now with the hostages, with the remains, is just horrific and so cruel. And I mentioned the Holocaust before. During the Holocaust, There were people in Germany and in Poland who saved Jews. In Gaza, there weren't. And most of the atrocities that happened on October 7th were not done by Hamas or by other fighters, were done by the uninvolved. They came in and they stole and pillaged and burnt and raped and beheaded and kidnapped bodies. It wasn't the combatants. So that's, I don't know how to overcome it. I wish I could be in a relationship with them like I am with the people of Egypt and Jordan and Syria and Lebanon. I don't care about them. I don't want to visit them. They can do whatever they want as long as they don't threaten my people. Don't want to be their friends. We did in the past. We planned a joint school for the people of Gaza and the children of Gaza and the children of Eshkol. We planned an industrial center, joint commercial center. Not going to happen. Now, that also has costs, financial costs. No Palestinian will enter our kibbutz to rebuild it, or not in the near future, definitely. Okay? We're paying a lot more for construction, for everything, for agriculture, but that's a price I'm willing to pay as the head of the community. They will not set foot. And what I need is for you to know that and to understand where we're coming from, and feel compassion for us for feeling that way. We don't want to feel that way. It's not natural for us. But we cannot, again, I'm speaking for myself, but I know I speak for a lot of people. We cannot feel their pain right now. We're so immersed in ours. We have not started to heal. Einav and I have been going from massage to massage. Nothing eliminates the pain. We are hurting all over. So that's something I think it's important to know. Even if you don't agree with me, completely okay. It's good that we have different voices. But it's important for you to hear that side. And hopefully, maybe something will happen. Maybe your Michigan will help the Michiganese in Israel. I hope I didn't offend anyone.
It's been innocent.
Israel has failed in that too. It's my responsibility to convey it, and I ask for you to take it further. Yeah.
Okay, Zohar, thank you so much for coming here.
I
hope you enjoyed it.
I didn't put anyone to sleep. On the table are my business cards. I have a business card. Pins that I brought as a gift. So feel free. And anyone coming to Israel, please let us know and come and visit. And if you want to ask me questions, if you want me to come on Zoom or whatever, I'm there for you.
Thank you so much, Zohar.
Thank you.
Mazal Talk Podcast with Yoel.